Well, joining me on the news to discuss this development are two gentlemen, Inibehe Effong, who's a human rights and public interest lawyer, and Wale Ogunade, President of Voters Awareness Initiative. Well, gentlemen, good to see you both, and thanks for your time. Let's start with you, Effong. You know, some political parties before now had charged exorbitant prices for nomination forms. How does this impact politics of administration, and especially in the justice system?
It's a very terrible signal that the APC is sending to the country. It is a way of telling Nigerians, that the party's ticket is for the highest bidder. When you ask somebody to pay 100 million just to be eligible to participate as an aspirant in the primary of your party, what you are essentially saying is that this is a race for the money bags. This is not a race for patrons or those who are honestly interested in serving the country. But again, some of us are not surprised because the APC as a party has been very consistent in changing Nigeria for the worse. So this is basically a continuation of what has become the very dubious pattern of the ruling party in terms of their abdication from the.
Well, Inibehe, let me jump in here. Apologies, Inibehe. Let me jump in here and bring in Wale. Wale, you've been sensitizing Nigerian voters for years now. And listening to Effong, some of the key concern is that this means, it's going to the money bags. Does this also resonate with some of the voters in Nigeria you've always interacted with?
First of all, good evening, my brother Aine, and of course, my brother Gimba. Obviously, what is happening is an interesting thing. I was thinking that the political parties, particularly APC, will have learnt its lesson. If one will remember, Buhari, when he was coming in 2015, I guess the form was 24 million. He could not afford it. Almost every Nigerian contributed money to help him to secure the nomination form. And from 24 million, it has jumped to 100 million. What they are telling us is that indeed is a money back situation. And for you can be sure that this time around, just as you are rightly asked, the voters are now a little bit more aware than it was 4 years ago and 8 years ago. So you can be sure that the voters will come up this time around and ensure that indeed they face these people squarely. These big parties is just a nomenclature. It is the people that make them big because people are not aware that there are other parties. For your information, there are 16 other political parties apart from these two big parties. And these 16, they give everyone or those who are interested opportunities using that platform to secure their political ambition. And of course, you can be sure that people like us will mobilize the Nigerian people to move away from these so-called big parties who have disappointed us in a shameful way, because this is not what we expected 8 years ago when we were voting Buhari in. The state of insecurity was not this bad, the economy was not this bad, and of course, the poverty level was not this bad. Now it has gone worse, and of course, the only thing they want to tell us is that, well, it is now a time for their own jamboree. Don't forget that this happened during the PDP era, and of course, it caused the problems for the champion ESCO. I guess it was the Secondus ESCO that they were busy exposing themselves about what they did with the money they collected from the sale of nomination forms and so on. Even the PDP itself, I guess their own nomination form is 40 million. So I don't even know where these APC people arrived with their own amount of 100 million. To me, whichever way, it's that indeed, just to answer your questions frontally, we are going to mobilize the Nigerian people that we want to say no to money bags. Because let's look at it.
Let me bring in Effong just a bit. Apologies for butting there. Effong, quickly listening to Wale, he said some key points. But again, one would have thought that since it looks like deja vu, something Nigerians have seen before, you have some of your colleagues who are rights activists now in government. What do you expect of these people who are serving in government? Would you be, in the days to come, expecting that they kick against such exorbitant fee just for an expression of interest or form?
They will not kick against it. They cannot bite the finger that feeds them. There is no way they will kick against it because they are all complicit. Those who are in government, they are all complicit in the rot. They are all complicit in the decay. They are all complicit in the corruption that all of us are witnessing. When you ask people to pay 100 million, take for example, you have some ministers who have indicated interest to run for president under the platform of the APC. What is the salary of a minister cumulatively per annum? Where do you honestly expect somebody who is in the public service to get 100 million from just to buy form, just for form, expression of interest and nomination form? There is no way you would expect anybody that earns money legitimately to just throw 100 million naira just for that. So they know what they are doing. This is about APC saying we're a party of the corrupt and that you cannot run our ticket if you are not willing to throw money around. For me, this is tragic. This is a travesty. Again, this is happening under a government that claimed they were coming to fight corruption, a government that claimed they were coming to change the country. And yet, you have a president leading that party, as the leader of the party, who claimed that he, as my comrade colleague has said, that he did not even have money to buy form, that people had to contribute money and buy form for him, even though he never accounted for the money that he received. Yet under his watch, as the so-called leader of the party, people are now being asked to pay 100 million just to participate in the primary. What the APC has done is outrageous.
Let me bring in Wale here. Wale, some of the concerns raised by Effong is that some of the people in those in the cabinet of President Buhari, specifically some ministers, have already indicated interest to contest this election. Are you surprised that these gentlemen haven't resigned as stipulated in the new Electoral Act?
Your mind. We are working on taking them to court. The law of the land is clear, and nobody is above the law. Be you a minister, no matter how powerful you are, the law is clear. Resign before you contest. And here they are, moving as if there is no law, barring and banning and disallowing such issue. We will go to court, and of course, we will see how they are now going to overturn the court. And don't forget that the legal system is there for everyone. And obviously, we all have our days in court. They will come when we have served them papers. But be that as it may, the second leg is that indeed, we will ensure that the Nigerian people know who to choose amongst this lot. The era of people coming with one sentimental statement or the other is over. The Nigerian people, there is hardly any family that is not hot with what is going on. The rich also cry in this situation, for your information. The rich who normally buy diesel at 250 naira, 150 naira per liter, now spend nothing less than 300, 400, 500, 650 per liter. Obviously, nobody likes this situation. Is it about food at the market? Don't let me just go into all these things that people know. So everyone is hot to the marrow. And what they want is a better government, not people who will come and sweet-tongue people. Some people will come and they will be busy quoting Trotsky, Lenin, Marvin Gaye, what's this man? I have a dream, Luther King, and all of them. That's not what we want. We want leaders who can think outside the box. And those people who can do it are those who cannot afford 100 million. They are there out there who are very, very creative. We want creative leaders, not people who have circled themselves. Now, coming back to your question, most of these ministers, all of them, they have been in office for the past 10, 20 years. And of course, they've gotten themselves enriched. And the only thing they think they can do now is to buy the presidency, buy a political office. And you can be sure that the political office is not for sale. Political office resides with the people because power belongs to the people. And you can be sure that this time around, the people are going to express that power. Do just let us see.
Let's take this before I let you go, Wale, quickly here. And this has to do with voter awareness. For some of the Nigerian public, specifically voters and new voters, asking, I'm talking about first-time voters, they're asking for some explanation on what the APC has just adopted, talking about indirect primaries for the election of its candidates in the 2023 general elections. Tell us, if you will, what this means.
Well, what it means is that rather than they coming together as individuals to vote as members of a political party, it's going to be a delegate system that they are going to use. They are going to use party people, members of some members who are elected to now represent them to vote their interest at the various levels. And what it means is that it is a pointer of what we have just seen happen now in terms of the sale of nomination form, because it encouraged money-back politics. Because the indirect system is a delegate system. Rather than everybody, the direct system is a system where every member of a political party will go to his ward and cast his vote for a candidate that he wants internally. And for information, this indirect thing is the cause of rigging all over. I'm involved in this thing for more than 20 years, and I know what I'm talking about. Once a candidate is not popularly elected, the only thing he wants to do now is to rig himself through fair and square to ensure that he gets there, knowing fully well that after winning the election and forcing himself and being sworn in, he can just be there using the state funds now and state apparatus to defend himself. But be that as it may, my brother, it cannot work this time because just as you have asked, the Nigerian people are asking questions so as to be well educated, well informed as to the steps they will take. I was thinking that indeed the APC or even all these political parties will now go direct because democracy has grown in Nigeria. But we are happy because the democratic process in Nigeria is work in progress, and they are tools. The politicians are tools which we work with, including
all right, go.
We work with
Wale, I'd like to thank you for your time. Wale Ogunade is the President Voters Awareness Initiative. Many thanks for your time, and of course, Inibehe, Effong, a human rights and public interest lawyer. Thank you for your time.